right. We still got that going on. The champ is here because you know what? We got it going on right here in Euless, Texas. And, you know, we pride ourselves in being an international city. I was talking to a good friend a few minutes ago before we came on the air. But, you know, this radio show is loved by many, hated by few, respected by all, second to none. You know, the best radio show from Como to the Congo. And now you know. So we are having an international show, if you will. We have people tuning in right now from Palestine. Nope, I ain't talking about Palestine, Texas. We're talking about Palestine. We're talking about Palestine. That's what we're talking about. You know, we're talking about Palestine. You know what I'm saying? So right. I want you to go ahead and look that up if you can. You look that up if you can. Look it up. I want you to look it up. We need to build our community and tear down walls, no matter where they're at. That's what we need to do. Whether or not it's walls in North America or walls in the Middle East, that's what we need to do. So we also send a shout out to the people in Egypt. You know, that's what we're talking about now. You know, that's what we are. We're international right now. But international is as international can get. We want to bring it home right now. We are here in Dallas, Texas. How you doing, man?
Sam Mohammad, yes, sir.
All right, Sam Mohammad. What's going on, man? So got to bring this mic over to you.
All right.
As the producer had said, bring it closer to us. We want all of the world to hear, since we send it a shout out to the whole wide world. So that's what we want to do. We want to talk about your campaign.
Yes, sir.
Running for sheriff. And the last time we had talked, I don't think you may remember this. It's been a couple of years now.
March 3rd, 2020.
Yep. You got the right date.
7 p.m. Right after 7 p.m.
Right after 7 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
That's quite impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, what was so impressive about that?
Well, it was...
well, why did that stand out?
It stood out because it was a date that I remember. It was my first time trying for such a big move. And we, even though we didn't win in the primaries, but we made a lot of noise. We made a lot of impact. We got to meet a lot of great people. And then I remember that's the night that when you and I met and we took some pictures.
Right, we did.
That's right.
And I promised that we were going to go ahead and have you on the show. Then what happened? The pandemic.
The pandemic.
The pandemic.
Yes, sir.
The pandemic happened, and we were all shut down. And I thought about that when I was looking at some of my phone, my pictures on my phone.
Right.
It shows up what I was doing on a particular date and time, and it's like that was the last political event that we did for a little while because
Correct.
Everything had happened.
Yeah.
But you still stuck with it?
I'm still stuck with it. Still policing, and you're gonna try for another campaign, much bigger and better this time.
So. Okay, where are you policing at?
I'm policing East Texas, actually next to Palestine.
Really?
In East Texas, yes, sir. I've been on the job 23 years, so right now that's my tenure over there until we see what happens with this campaign.
So I was correct when I was talking about
that's
Palestine.
Right. That's
so
right.
we had them both ways this time.
And here's a third way. I'm also Palestinian too. So
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I did my homework a little bit.
Oh.
I asked about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're running for sheriff. Why
Correct.
are you running for sheriff?
Why am I running for sheriff? Because I want to change the image that's projected towards law enforcement, and a lot of it negative. I want to bridge the gap between law enforcement and the community that we serve. One of the things is I hold very dear to me is combating human trafficking, drug trafficking. Also, DWI fatalities. Dallas is major. Dallas-Fort Worth is a major area for that. Also, I want to solve cold cases that are not being looked at. A lot of people their loved ones are being victimized for a lot of years, and nobody's looking at their cases. Create safer places of worship with all the shootings and mass killings towards at mosques, synagogues, churches, temples, etc. The other thing is I want to be a voice for the voiceless, those who don't have somebody that they can voice their concerns and their issues to. I want to be that person. Going inside, we're bringing it back here closer to the jail. Make it a safer environment for the jailers, the correctional officers, and the staff, the deputies out there on the street, because they're the first line of defense to the county, and also to the inmates on the inside of the jail. Make it a safer environment for the staff. They're overworked, they're unappreciated, they mandatory overtime, all that. I want to make sure that that's taken care of, and they can go back to their families when it's time for them to go to their families, not get called in to do doubles and triples, at the last minute. So those are some of the ideas I have.
You were a captain, or
Yes, sir. So my highest rank in the police department is a captain. I earned that about last year, and that's where I'm at now. So I retired from that department, and right now I serve as a lieutenant in the department that I'm at. But of course, we go by the highest rank that we've earned.
And
so yes, sir.
Once a judge, always.
Once a judge, always a judge, right?
Yeah.
And then in the police academy, of course, where I teach, the cadets have to refer to us as the highest rank, whether it's military or police.
Okay.
Yep.
So you teach in the police academy?
I'm a coordinator in the Dallas College Law Enforcement Academy. Been an instructor there for a few years, since right around the last election. That's when I started, about 2019. And I'm a coordinator there. I do the service. So the officers that want to continue and pursue their knowledge and they want to keep up their certification, I take care of that for them.
Now, why did you decide to become a policeman in the first place?
You know what? This is my love for people is the number one, and subconsciously it's been something that I've always wanted to do, and I didn't know about it until my mother told me about a couple of years ago, when she said, when we lived in Puerto Rico, you've always wanted to be a police officer.
Wait a minute, hold on. You lived in Puerto Rico?
I was born, yes, sir. I was born there, and I was there as a child. So what happened is I was on the swing.
How many languages you speak?
For now.
For now. Four.
Yes,
Say
sir.
for now.
For now.
I'm trying to master English. And which ones you?
Well, I'm trying to master English. So you and I are in the same boat. Arabic and Spanish are my first, and I used to speak Hebrew very fluently, just like I speak Arabic and Spanish. So, but because I don't use it as much here, it kind of fades away. But I'm still familiar with it. I can listen to conversations, and I can read and write, and I can still understand. But it takes me maybe a short visit back there and back overseas, and I'll get it back.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's quite impressive.
Thank you.
So that means you can arrest people in 3-4 different languages. Then.
That's right. We've done it before too. We've done it. Yeah, we've done that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. When you said that, it just triggered that.
Oh yeah. So it's always a conversation starter, and it's always good. It shows diversity. So when they see Mohammed, they think just Arab or Palestinian or that. But when they hear the Spanish, they it's always fun. It's always pleasant to do that. So she tells me, my mother tells me that I was on the swing, and then a police officer walks up to me, and he picks me up and he says, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "Policía," and which police. And then I think subconsciously that stuck with me, and I didn't know anything about that until like a couple of years ago. And but my love for service and serving the community has always been a thing, even before policing, before I joined the police department.
Well, what have you done outside of policing to serve the community?
I've been involved in training the security teams in different places of worship, churches, mosques, temples, etc., in the DFW, North Texas, and even outside of Texas. I'm a founder of one of the biggest mosques in the area in Mesquite. I always go and speak to children at schools. I answer phone calls all the time, and on the clock, off the clock. People want to ask me questions about policing and about some issues that they've gone through. I go speak to their kids, to teachers. I prepare parents and teachers for various events that the unthinkable. So I go and I speak a lot to people about also drugs, the danger of fentanyl, which is really swarming the area right now.
Tell me about that.
Major problem, and especially now in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, especially it being a corridor, a hub for all these issues, for all these drugs and the trafficking, from the north from the south to the north, and from the east to the west, because we have the major highways that kind of split the country into different routes. So the problem is growing, and I don't see enough being done about it. And so I want to make sure that I get that taken care of. The problem is actually outnumbers, or the magnitude of it is actually outweighs the number and the presence of police officers, and it's overwhelming. So awareness is what a lot of people don't need to understand, that this drug is a killer. I mean, if it's good enough to kill large animals, large game.
It was originally used to put horses to sleep, right?
Horses, and not even that, but elephants too.
Elephants.
Yes, sir. So
I know
I
that. Tell
actually
me.
recently, and I didn't know about that until recently. I took a class about fentanyl, and the lead instructors in the class were saying that these are a small dose of it can actually put an elephant down. So what about when you put it through? When you put a laced a pill through a child or an injection, or they take it by the different means that they take it. So every day there's law enforcement trying to combat this issue, but we're not doing enough, and we're not getting enough backing on that.
What do we need to do?
Well, for one, we need to make sure that this issue is not acceptable. We need to make sure that these issues are being prosecuted, and people that are doing it are actually held to the maximum punishment of the law. That way, they don't think just because they can do it in other states and it's legal over there that they can do it here. So it should be understood that it's unacceptable. Awareness should be a thing. And one major key that I address in this issue is that parents, you need to spend more time with your children, because if you're not there in their lives, they're going to go find somebody else to be in their lives, and it's either going to be gang, drugs, or both. And by that time, it'll be too late.
They'll be in loose spirit.
Or in loose spirit.
Loose spirit.
If lucky, sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it'll be too late. You're right.
Yes, sir.
Loose spirit would be the situation in which they would be lucky.
You know what? That would be lucky if they get, or even before that, better yet, if they think about it, and maybe the parents would educate their children on this. And it's something it's not a one-way street. The media, the police, all that, we can't do it all alone. Like, we can come on the show and we talk about it all day long, but then if people on the other side don't do what's enough to educate their children, and teachers are not talking about this enough, if they were to do that and spread the awareness, I think we would have a better, safer environment when it comes to these issues.
Okay. Now, the issue that you're running on for sheriff's department is making the sheriff's department changing the image of the sheriff's department.
Yes.
What's wrong with the image of the sheriff's department now?
So, on the inside, and this is from people that were actually incarcerated in there, they would tell me that the inmates are the ones that are running the jail, and that's not something that should be done. The staff, they're short millions of dollars, over $1 million in fiscal year 2018, 2019, $1 million a month on overtime. Why are we spending taxpayers' money on overtime when we can get people to come out and work? Now, these people, these correctional officers, these first line of defense inside the jail that protect, loved ones of, families that have loved ones locked up, they have to go back to their families. And if they're overworked and stressed out all this much, officers are, correctional officers can get harmed a whole lot worse than the inmates when they're on the inside. So they need to be able to go back to their families. They need to be able to have a normal life like other people. And I understand this is law enforcement, and this is a job where you can't just expect to, go home at 5 o'clock when it's time to go. But I understand that. But when it's like an everyday occurrence and underworked, unappreciated, and that's not a safe environment for them. That's on the outside. On the inside, on the outside, we need to going back to making safer highways, making it safer for the people that come through the county. The visitors, the residents, step up the patrol enforcement, and making sure that working with the DA and make sure that he's prosecuting crimes, starting with theft and the smaller ones that he's neglecting or he's disregarding charging people with if people get caught committing thefts, because they say, well, it's a necessity, let them have it. But that's going to grow the problem. It's going to spiral to something bigger.
So you obviously don't agree with the district attorney?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, and I
don't think any policeman.
No policeman would agree with that.
I mean, it's like one of those set-up questions.
Yeah.
Do you agree with letting somebody
No.
get away, not charged, rather?
Because what they'll do is that they go ahead and do it again. Because I worked in Dallas, and I work sometimes, plain clothes in some stores, major stores in the area, and then when we apprehend somebody who's they try to walk out with $100, $700, $800, $1,000 worth of items, and then the police officer would come in and say, well, if it's under $750, the DA wouldn't prosecute, so we're going to let him go. And then the bad guy will do it again. We'll catch him again the next day. So it makes it stressful and hard for us. And this is not just myself, every officer that you talk to would probably tell you the same thing, that have, gone through.
Well, every officer I've talked to said that.
Yeah?
Exactly.
There you
go. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Just it won't be 50 questions. We don't have that kind of time. The producer just came in early and say, hey, look, you ain't got that kind of time.
Right.
Community policing and ride-along programs.
Right.
Tell me about those.
So, say Ed Gray is a community leader, well known in the community. People respect him a lot, and I know they do. So, people have issues about policing. They have questions. Mr. Gray would go out and he would, let's say, do a ride along with the sheriff's office or with the police department or the jurisdiction where he lives. He'd go and he'd ride along, and he would see what the police officers do on everyday basis and the things that they go through, and then he can come back and say, hey, look, police is not what them other mainstream media say about them. This is what they go through, and I've seen it firsthand. Other community leaders, other people, it'd be a program that would be open for everybody, just for them to come out and see, instead of Monday morning quarterbacking a police story that's on the news and everybody is judging, everybody is a prosecutor, everybody is jury and a judge. Let's make it where it's facilitated to where people actually can go out and see it themselves. Community policing. There'll be a division for community policing just for that, where we can actually go out and inform the people about what's going on. Transparency. Hey, we have this issue happen, with whether with a citizen, with a criminal gang, or with an officer. Something happened. People need to know about it. We'll do a press conference. That way, people are not in the dark on what's going on, and then that would cause rumors and would cause a lot of misunderstanding on what's happening.
Now, you said regular press conferences.
Yes.
How you didn't say regular, but how often should these press conferences be held?
I think bi-weekly, or maybe once a month at least. That way the people need to understand what their sheriff is doing, what the deputies are doing, what's going on in the jail. Because if they don't, people are going to just assume and speculate on things that are not true. And people deserve to know what's going on. It's called transparency. And a lot of successful sheriffs and police agencies in the country are doing that. So why aren't we doing it here? Why aren't we doing it here? I think that would be a good thing, because you, the citizens, the voters, everybody, whether voters or not, people need to understand what's going on in their community, in their neighborhoods.
All right. When we come back from a break, we'll talk more and we'll dive deeper into what's going on in the community. Thank you for listening to the Commish Radio Show. We'll be right back.
Who was that masked man? You mean you don't know? That was no masked man. That was the Commish.
Saturdays from 5 to 6 p.m. on the Fishbowl Radio Network.
Hi, my name is Gail Todd with Townview Realtors. If you find yourself in the market to buy, sell, lease, or maybe you want to be a part of this hot real estate market by investing, just give my team of professionals and I a call at 214-675-9572. Again, that's 214-675-9572. Or you can email me at gtodd88@yahoo.com. With me, it's all about you.
What's up, beautiful peoples out there? It's your boy Mar, a.k.a. Cool Pop Watson, baby. Make sure you check my man out 3 to 5 every Saturday. Commish Radio Show. Make sure y'all come check my man out.
Hey, whenever I want good Cajun food, I go to Thibodeau's, located at 107 North Cedar Ridge in Duncanville, Texas. They're really hot, just like the Commish Radio Show in Thibodeau's. Hot as this gumbo. We will see you later at Thibodeau's.
I'm Pastor Freddie Haynes. I listen to the Commish Show on the Fishbowl for my social activism information so I can be a better agitator.
All right, Commission Radio Show back again, and during the break time we were talking about coordinating efforts and to fight crime, and I would like to ask you, you should have heard the conversation. He just really went deep on it, so I'm going to allow him to go ahead and repeat everything he just told me to you. Go ahead.
If it's okay with the producer. Okay, so one of the issues that one of the things that will be done is collaboration of efforts between the sheriff's office and all agencies in the area, not just Dallas PD or other agencies like within here. It'll be a joint task force, joint efforts collaboration between the sheriff's office and Tarrant County, Collin County, Kaufman County, Rockwall County, Ellis County, Johnson County, all these counties around us, and even far beyond. Joint tasks to combat the issues that we mentioned here, the drugs, the human trafficking, cartels issues, etc. And in even going as far as the governor's office and involving DPS, the Department of Public Safety, to work with us at the sheriff's office and combat these issues that are not being handled because of lack of resources and probably politics, etc. So it'll be like a bigger bang than it is right now, and all that is just to create a safe environment for you and I and our families and our children and our schools, places of worship, our churches, and all that. If we can't do it alone, Dallas PD cannot do it alone. Obviously, they're very shorthanded. The SO cannot do it alone, the sheriff's office. So it needs to be a collaborated effort. Joint task forces for human trafficking, for DWI fatalities, crashes, for all the other issues. The highways are not safe. All these illegal street racing that are going on and killing a bunch of our youth, wasting their lives for nothing. And yes, the governor, he signed a very tough law right now that would help us, combat this problem.
So what does it really mean that he signed?
So this would be that tougher penalties. Of course, if they're involved in any issues in any street racing, the penalties are tougher. The cars will be seized, and it'll be a mark on their record. And most of these people are not as aware as people let's say, in our age. They're younger, so they have lack of comprehension of what could be the consequences. So this can send a message out really, really good. And what I ask for is that, and what I would make, I would make it not a discretionary call. Like if the officer, shows up to that call, then he would say, you know what, we're gonna let this one go, or we're gonna use discretion on this one. It should be mandatory, just like domestic violence, just like some of the felonies that you can't just overlook.
Now, how are you going to pay for this?
So the paying, of course, the resources are, obviously limited. But then if instead of spending millions of dollars, every quarter on overtime, why don't we hire more people and work also, like I said, with other agencies to combat these issues and hire more people instead of spending all this money on the overtime. We'd hire people, make their pay good, make it a safer environment for them, make them want to come to work instead of treating them as robots and machines, just like the last campaign they were referred to as junked cars, etc. So that's not how you treat your people.
What happened in the last campaign?
So the incumbent, with all respect, was when she was asked about how she's going to combat the issue about the overtime pay and whatnot, she said that it's something that had to be done because when you spend money on junked cars, and it's something that didn't really make sense, and it really upset a lot of people, including myself. I didn't think that was an analogy that should be befitting of somebody to talk about his people that keep him and his department safe, or her safe. So I didn't agree with that one. So my response to that was, the jailers are the first line of defense. I mean, as sheriff, I might be sitting in the office, but you're going to be over there probably fighting with the inmates who are trying to kill you, trying to stab you with a shank, or trying to hurt somebody else. But if you're not taken care of, how are we going to expect you to take care of us and the county and the jails and the inmates and the visitors that go and see their loved ones incarcerated? So, these are some of the issues.
All right, licensed security teams to be placed in houses of worship.
Right. So just like now it became mandatory for elementary schools to have security officers, armed security officers on campus, I would want to make it to where every church, every religious establishment, synagogue, mosque, name it, Buddhist temple, all of them, they deserve to be going to worship in a safer environment, because after all, these are the houses of God, and they need to be respected and they need to be protected. So a lot of them actually go unprotected. They don't have their security team because they cannot afford it. I'll take it upon myself to make sure that these places of worship are safe. The worshipers, the members of the church, and all these places of worship are safe. They feel safe. They are safe, not just feel safe. And by forming security teams, and that are armed, that are trained, they'll be trained by either I'm a licensed trainer for the security, certified by DPS, and I've done a lot of those. I mean, in the past 2 years, I think we're graduating this class number 16 in next week. And those are big teams, and they serve in a lot of the bigger places of worship, mosques and churches, etc. So we want to make sure that they're safe. I will designate people from the sheriff's office to make sure that they're taking care of that. Constant training, constant awareness, and making sure that the people are safer when they go to their places of worship.
That seems to be that's very important, because it seems
Yes.
to be that we're living in times now where houses of worship are threatened more so than they have ever been threatened before. It's not just black churches now anymore.
It's everywhere. Muslims,
Right, exactly.
mosques, churches, synagogues.
Synagogues.
I mean, if it's not here, it's somewhere else. And sometimes it's like back to back. So we want to make sure that when you go to your morning prayer, your morning service, your evening service, that you're safe when you go there. And and train people on how to carry firearms, and train them on how to use these firearms, not just carry them. Because if I carry and I just feel safe, that's a feeling. But practicality matters here, and we need to make sure that the people are, when they're going to worship, that they are actually safe. And if something comes up, how can they handle the situation? Because a lot of times, we're not there. You call 911, we're not going to be there immediately when you need it. So
Now, your bio states that you're young, and well, how young are you? And you say you have lots of ideas. Like, young people always have lots of ideas. Half of them don't work, but they have lots of ideas.
a lot of ideas, right?
Yeah. And you're not a politician.
I am not. So
Everybody say that till they get elected. Then they say,
well, you know what? If you talk to me enough, I think the audience, I think, can tell that I'm not, and I'm not trying on being one. Even though it is a political position, I'm not. I don't play politics. I play what's real and what's practical for the people that we're going to be serving. So that's the game. So yes, I am actually right now. I'm 47, and I do have a lot of ideas, including some of the ones I didn't mention in here. I don't want to spill everything right now. Just keep some for later to work with.
Well, we want you to come back.
Of course, yeah. So I do have a lot of ideas, and I understand the politics of the game, because I've been in this job for over 22, 23 years. I understand how administration works, and I understand and I understand how I can see it from different angles. From administrator, I can see it from the citizen aspect. I can see it also from the police officer angle, how we look at things. So if you have somebody that can actually relate to all these angles, I think it would be a better fit, somebody who actually can understand and relate to issues when they come up. So not just looking at it from one angle, because my way or the highway doesn't work. It needs to be you need to be a leader looking at it from all different angles.
Now, I want to ask you about your training background.
Yes, sir.
How many deputies have you made?
Well, I started in the academy when they were at class 91.
Deputies and jailers.
Well, they actually they actually were in corrections. They come out to be police officers, et cetera. So in the hundreds. Yes, so we started in class 91 when I started at the academy, and right now we're at class 126 or 127. So a big number, over 30 classes, academy classes that we graduated. And they all move on to become law enforcement officers, whether on the inside in the jail or outside on the streets. A lot of them got promoted to, chiefs and sergeants, and lieutenants, et cetera. So I take pride in that.
My brother cousin was a sheriff's department in Tarrant County.
Okay.
He was a sergeant.
Yeah, Tarrant County is a great department. Actually,
Well,
great department.
Dallas.
Yes, sir.
Dallas County. How have you been working your campaign so far?
So we just started, and right now what we're doing is we're spreading the word. We're doing some push cards, and we are campaigning with. We're meeting with our advisors. We're also meeting with some people that are potential donors, and we're getting a lot of donations to help out. Right now, we just have to get some material. Like you see here in the background, we have some materials that we are going to be passing out, and going out and talking to folks, knocking on doors and talking to people. Just see what people want, hearing from the people that are going to be voting. Not just, hey, give me your vote because I'm the guy you want. Like, why am I the guy you want? Like, so we and that's what I did last time. I go and knock on doors and talk to people, random people in different places in the county.
So you actually walking in the people's houses?
I stand at the polls. I will talk to people.
Are you in your uniform when you
I'm in uniform and not in uniform. So
you can do that?
Yeah. It is, but which, by the way, a lot of people ask about that. It is not against the law or against the ethics or in any ruling or anything like that. There's nothing that says you can't do that. The one thing I don't do is I don't do it in my department uniform. So I do it in a generic uniform.
Oh, okay.
Like you see right now.
Okay.
So that's not.
Yeah, because I noticed it don't say anything about no sheriff's department.
Yes. So it doesn't say that because I'm not the sheriff, and I will be. So with y'all's help, I will be. But and then I can be wearing the sheriff uniform. But as for now, I just keep it generic, and I just wear this, and people understand that this gentleman is a police officer, and here's my name is everything is on there. And if anybody has any questions to me about anything, I mean they can come up and ask, and I tell them, hey, I work for here, I do this and whatnot. So as far as this, nothing unethical or illegal, whether it's department.
So you have your campaign. This is a paid political ad sponsored by you have that already made out.
Correct. So yes, by the Mohammad for Sheriff campaign.
Okay. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So we want everybody to know he paid for this. Okay.
That is correct. Yeah.
All right. So that being said, we want to go ahead and take another break, and when we come back, we will conclude and ask you that question, the question of the hour: who you are and why, and when is election day. All right. We'll be right back.
Hey, whenever I want good Cajun food, I go to Thibodeau's, located at 107 North Cedar Ridge in Duncanville, Texas. They're really hot, just like the Commish Radio Show in Thibodeau's. Hot as this gumbo. We will see you later at Thibodeau's.
I'm Pastor Freddie Haynes. I listen to the Commish Show on the Fishbowl for my social activism information so I can be a better agitator.
Who was that masked man? You mean you don't know? That was no masked man. That was the Commish. Saturdays from 5 to 6 p.m. on the Fishbowl Radio Network.
Gabe on controls, playing the music, and that's local music that we always have on the Commish Radio Show. So we want you to tune in on Saturdays. We could not wait for this Saturday, so we brought in Captain Sam Mohammad here today. International show, diversity in the house.
That's right.
So this is what we're talking about on the Commish Radio Show. I'm gonna let him handle the mic, because he's been known to drop it from time to time. So tell us, why should we vote for Sam Mohammad to be sheriff of Dallas County?
So, great question, and the answer to that is, you want somebody who is not there because he or she wants to be in a political position. You want somebody who's going to be there for the people, and to love and respect them by letting people know what's going on. Why should you vote for Sam Mohammad? I'm diverse. I understand culture and backgrounds. Actually, that's one of my specialties in the police academy, is teaching multiculturalism and culture diversity. I understand that very well. I'm well versed in religion. I'm an expert in the Muslim religion. I have I can understand people. I can understand faith. I can understand cultures. Not just that I speak Spanish and Hebrew and whatnot, but that I understand the cultures where these languages are spoken, and I understand people's issues when it comes to police matters or police issues. Whenever they have an issue against, let's say, racism or discrimination or whatnot, I've been on that end. When I started policing, I started in 2001, just before September 11. And for a Mohammed to walk around with a badge and a gun was not easy task. So I got stopped and carded and ID'd in uniform by officers. And so I understand how that discrimination is. I understand what people go and they say, hey, this is not right and whatnot. I totally understand it. And so I want to make sure that people, that's minimized. Now, is it going to be decreased 100%? Probably not. But it's going to be done as much as I can, as long as you vote me in and I'm there and taking care of you as your sheriff. I'll be taking care of these issues. I understand how the game works from the political side, from the administrative side, from the officer side. I know what people want, and this is not something I'm saying just because I'm on the show or just to get your vote, but I understand what people want, and I can relate a lot. So that's, and my parents actually, I'm a son of immigrants. My parents immigrated from Palestine back in the 60s, went to South America, then to Puerto Rico, where my father got married and they had us. And so I understand the culture. I understand. Like, I mean, I don't talk to somebody and like as I am, I am somebody and you're not. Like I talk to people as, down to earth. And this is something that people saw, and I appreciate that they did when I was at the polling sites. A lot of them were surprised to see, like, you're the candidate and you're here talking to us. And I said, why wouldn't I? You're the one who's going to put me there. So I need to know you.
All right.
Yeah.
When is the election?
So it all runs with, just to make it easier for, so people don't remember a lot of dates, it's going to be alongside the presidential election, whether it's the primary or the election day, etc. So if you watch the election day for the presidential campaigning, then we'll be along the same dates, same everything.
All
so
right.
November, and then March, and then November next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, thank you for coming.
My
on
pleasure.
the show.
My pleasure. Glad to be
Appreciate
here.
it.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for tuning in to the Commish Radio Show. And hey, we will be back on Saturday. And I know you'll be back to see us as well. So thank you for tuning in to Commish Radio Show. We'll see you Saturday.
Hi, this is Howard Scott from The Howard Scott Show, coming to you from beautiful Arlington, Texas on Fishbowl Radio. You can catch me every Wednesday from 6 to 7, and we play all this war music, and you get to hear some of the songs that I wrote when I was in the band War, how I created the songs, the stories behind it, and we start off with the blues. You have a good time talking to me, so tune in every Wednesday from 6 to 7 and catch The Howard Scott Show. We're having a whole lot of fun on Fishbowl Radio.
Jump in.
Hello out there. My name is Byron Williams, former NFL player. I'm with the NFL Players Association, and when I'm not in the community, I'm listening to Mr. Ed Gray, the commish.
Hi, my name is Gail Todd with Townview Realtors. If you find yourself in the market to buy, sell, lease, or maybe you want to be a part of this hot real estate market by investing, just give my team of professionals and I a call at 214-675-9572. Again, that's 214-675-9572. Or you can email me at gtodd88@yahoo.com. With me, it's all about you.
Who was that masked man? You mean you don't know? That was no masked man. That was the commish.
Saturdays from 5 to 6 p.m. on